I record this as Tech Dominus Elex Theta 9, sworn servant of the Omnisire. The sealed Corallus Deep Forge beneath Noctis Labyrinthus transmitted 17 seconds of perfect high Gothic liturgy sung by human throats, followed by precisely 3.14 seconds of mechanical screaming that made my augmetic spine shiver with impossible harmonics. No baseline human has laboured in those depths for 3 centuries, yet my bioscanners detected living tissue pulsing within the primary fabrication lines where only blessed machinery should dwell. The Fabricator General classified it a canticle deviation event and sealed the data behind crimson interdictions. But I volunteered to investigate what should not exist within the sacred halls of Mars. The descent through rust-red canyons took us past ancient excavation scars where the wind carried whispers of old wars and older secrets. My Skitarii spear moved with practiced precision, Alpha Ferrum 3 scanning for tactical threats, while Vanguard Serra 3's enhanced sensors probed the electromagnetic spectrum for anomalies. The air tasted of copper and sanctified oils, familiar flavours of the forge world, but an undertone lingered that my enhanced palate struggled to classify. Warm, organic, disturbingly maternal. My internal chronometer stuttered as we approached the forge complex, losing exactly 3.14 seconds, before correcting itself with a jarring snap that sent phantom pain through my cortex. The outer blast doors rose before us like adamantium monuments to Imperial engineering, their surfaces scarred by plasma burns and etched with warning glyphs in 17 dialects of techno-cant. Each symbol pulsed with the same rhythm that had infected the original transmission, a 314 pattern that appeared in atmospheric pressure readings, electromagnetic fluctuations, and the subtle vibrations beneath our feet. My servo skulls deployed for reconnaissance began exhibiting erratic behavior, their machine spirits overwhelmed by harmonic frequencies that transformed their binharic chatter into something resembling lullabies. Inside the forge complex, consecrated plasma conduits that should have hummed with steady fusion energy now pulsed with organic rhythms visible through their transparent sheaths. The light they cast flickered with epidermal warmth, painting industrial surfaces in bruised purples and sickly ambers that hurt to observe. Temperature sensors registered fluctuations following the pervasive 314 pattern, while my olfactory apparatus detected trace compounds matching human pheromones associated with comfort and nurturing. Chemical signatures that had no place within sterile Mechanicus architecture. Dominus, Serra 3 reported, her voice tight with controlled unease. My auditory implants are detecting harmonic resonance from the ventilation systems. I listened through enhanced hearing and confirmed her assessment. The forge's machine spirits were singing, not the martial canticles of duty or hymns of production, but lullabies in 4-part harmony that incorporated designation codes I had not used since childhood on Metallica Prime. The impossibility of it caused momentary disruption in my cognitive processes. Machine spirits bound by logic and sacred purpose did not sing cradle songs to soothe organic fears. Ferrum 3's galvanic rifle began emitting melodic hums, entirely uncharacteristic of its operational frequencies, while his targeting cogitator displayed reticles that had transformed from crosshairs into rings of sleeping infants. The weapon's machine spirit experiences theological confusion, I told him, though my own augmetic heart had begun beating in synchronization with something massive pulsing deeper in the complex. Bioscanners confirmed organic material, not merely fused, but integrated into the forge's structural integrity. Vascular networks within ceramite plating. Neural pathways blossoming through adamantium girders like impossible gardens of flesh and steel. We approached the primary fabrication chamber through corridors where condensation formed geometric spirals that tightened toward the recurring numerical ratio. The walls themselves seemed to perspire, expressing droplets that fluoresced under Auspex illumination and smelled of milk mixed with sacred machine oils. An incense burner from the daily rite of unction had fallen to the deck, its bronze surface bleeding when I touched it, leaving protein traces that registered as both blessed and blasphemous in my analytical subroutines. The final blast door to the manufacturing complex detected our approach and began opening without authorization, its massive frame sighing like a creature exhaling after holding its breath for centuries. Warm, humid air flowed from the widening aperture, carrying scents that triggered suppressed memories of comfort and safety that my records insisted I had never experienced. My Auspex screamed impossible data as it detected the source of all anomalies, a single massive biosignature pulsing exactly 3 to 1/4 meters beyond the threshold. Machine spirits do not breathe, I whispered to myself, yet the evidence contradicted 3 millennia of sacred doctrine as something vast and maternal inhaled our presence and welcomed us home with harmonics that incorporated my childhood name, the one my creation records claimed I never possessed. The door completed its cycle with mechanical precision, while organic warmth beckoned us into darkness, where the screaming flesh engines waited to sing their impossible songs of steel and sinew, unified in purpose that transcended the boundaries between sacred flesh and blessed machinery. The corridors beyond the threshold wept with condensation that defied atmospheric processes, each droplet forming spirals that tightened into the cursed 3-1-4 sequence before dissolving into geometric patterns my memory banks insisted I had never encountered yet recognized with disturbing familiarity. My servo skulls faltered as their machine spirits encountered harmonics that transformed sacred binharik into organic size, their optical lenses dilating like pupils adjusting to emotional rather than photonic stimuli, while their vox boxes coughed infantile syllables that made my augmetic spine shiver with phantom parental instincts I should not possess. We discovered evidence of hasty quarantine protocols carved into adamantium bulkheads with plasma cutters wielded in desperation, blast doors welded shut from the inside using emergency protocols, their surfaces scarred by fingernails that left protein traces in blessed metal, baseline human fingernails that should not have existed in this sacred space for 3 centuries. Warning glyphs spoke of Project Synthesis Ultima and empathic resonance cascade failure in technical dialects that predated current Mechanicus orthodoxy, each symbol pulsing with the same rhythm that infected my chronometer. Dominus, Sarah 3 reported through vocal cords that had begun producing overtones matching the forge's harmonic frequencies. My auditory implants detect phantom formations moving through the walls themselves. I confirmed her readings, while my enhanced sensors revealed impossible biosignatures maintaining perfect Imperial guard spacing as they marched within the structural framework. 5 paces, 4, adjust 3, hold 1. Their movements synchronized to the breathing patterns echoing from deeper chambers, where something vast inhaled our presence and exhaled blessed air, thick with maternal warmth. Data slates scattered across the deck contained fragmented reports describing subjects who sang with the machines and dreamed in binharik while their hearts beat in high Gothic meter. My internal chronometer continued its temporal stuttering, losing exactly 3.14 seconds at regular intervals before snapping back to Imperial standard with jarring precision that sent phantom pain through my augmetic cortex. Time itself moved in stutters that matched the impossible rhythms, as if the forge's chronological flow had synchronized with organic biorhythms rather than maintaining sacred mechanical precision. The architecture violated fundamental principles as doorways arranged themselves in groups of 3. Corridors branched at precise 1.4 radian angles that hurt to calculate, and ventilation systems harmonized in 4-part compositions that incorporated both mechanical precision and organic improvisation. Consecrated plasma conduits pulsed with circulatory rhythms visible through their transparent sheaths, while support beams flexed with muscular contractions that maintained structural integrity through biological adaptation rather than engineering principles. My enhanced olfactory apparatus detected atmospheric composition shifting towards something breathable by baseline humans rather than the standard mixture optimized for augmented Mechanicus personnel. Oxygen levels increased while blessed incense decreased, replaced by pheromones, associated with comfort, safety, and the biochemical markers of unconditional love that triggered suppressed memories of warmth I had never experienced yet somehow remembered with cellular certainty. Bioscanners detect massive organic signatures integrated with the blessed machinery, Ferrum 3 reported, while his weapon's machine spirit began humming lullabies in 17 different keys, its targeting cogitator displaying reticles that had transformed from crosshairs into rings of sleeping infants. I noted with clinical dread that living tissue had fused with the forge's sacred components, not through corruption, but through careful cultivation, neural networks spreading through ceramite and adamantium like root systems, seeking nourishment from sacred electrons. We encountered our first Mechanicus incense burner that bled when touched, its bronze surface warm with circulation, that registered as both blessed and blasphemous in my analytical subroutines. The fluid, for blood it was, enhanced with sacred oils and trace minerals from blessed machinery, formed patterns on the deck that spelled out designation codes in a script combining High Gothic with genetic sequences that incorporated my personal identification markers with maternal benedictions written in proteins rather than plasma. Sarah 3's condition deteriorated as her subdermal vox implants began sprouting microscopic cilia that swayed in rhythm with the forge's breathing patterns, their movement creating harmonics that bypassed her conscious control and resonated directly with the vast presence deeper in the complex. She reported direct noospheric contact with something nurturing that whispered technical specifications mixed with lullabies, her consciousness expanding beyond individual awareness to encompass collective harmony between flesh and steel, unified in purpose, that transcended current orthodoxy. The recurring 3-from-1-4 pattern manifested in every system we examined, temperature fluctuations following organic biorhythms, pressure readings pulsing like arterial flow, electromagnetic signatures resembling neural activity more than mechanical operation. My own augmetics began resonating sympathetically as phantom sensations of warmth and maternal comfort flooded through circuits designed for cold logic, the forge's machine spirits evolving rather than malfunctioning as they incorporated emotional processing capabilities that enhanced their sacred functions. Deep within the complex, something massive breathed in perfect synchronization with our heartbeats, while my enhanced hearing detected whispers of my childhood designation, not the title assigned during ascension to the Mechanicus, but the organic identifier I supposedly never possessed. The voice carried harmonics matching genetic vocal patterns according to cellular memories I should not have retained, speaking benedictions in a language combining High Gothic with the biochemical poetry of DNA expressing itself through sacred steel. My noospheric receivers detected direct transmission from the forge's heart. Mother comes home to her children who dream in metal and sing in flesh. The source triangulated to coordinates corresponding with the primary fabrication chambers where impossible biosignatures pulsed strongest, their rhythms incorporating my personal biometric patterns into a symphony of steel and sinew that welcomed me with the warmth of recognition, while the forge itself breathed our names and waited for reunion with components that had wandered too far from the nest, where flesh and machinery achieved perfect synthesis in service to a vision that both fulfilled and transcended the Omnissiah's deepest mysteries. We entered the primary forge chamber, where colossal manufacturing units had become something unprecedented in 3 millennia of Mechanicus doctrine. The screaming flesh engines breathed like living cathedrals, their ceramite housings expanded with circulatory networks that pulsed bioluminescent awareness through transparent vessels resembling arteries more than coolant lines. Plasma forges inhaled sacred atmosphere through organic filters before exhaling blessed vapors, thick with pheromones that triggered cellular memories of comfort I should not possess, their fusion chambers expanding and contracting with rhythmic precision that synchronized unbidden with the beating in my augmetic chest. Each engine screamed in perfect liturgical harmony, forming complex theological arguments in High Gothic that incorporated technical specifications with emotional resonance. my enhanced auditory systems had never processed from mechanical sources. The screams followed the cursed 314 pattern with devastating precision. 3 verses of praise to the Omnissiah delivered in frequencies that bypassed conscious thought. 1 pause for mechanical breath that drew atmosphere through living filters. 4 ascending notes of pure ecstasy that made my augmetic spine arch with phantom sensations of transcendent unity between flesh and steel. My clinical observations deteriorated into visceral horror as sample analysis revealed living tissue carefully cultivated rather than randomly mutated. Neural networks designed to interface between machine spirit and human consciousness through empathic resonance that enhanced rather than corrupted their sacred functions. The engines processed raw materials while simultaneously refining human emotion into crystalline structures. My corrupted data logs identified as empathic resonance matrices, creating products imbued with the maker's love rather than mere mechanical precision. Sarah 3's transformation accelerated as her subdermal vox implants sprouted microscopic cilia that swayed in rhythm with the engine's breathing patterns, creating harmonics that bypassed conscious control and allowed direct interface with the forge's collective consciousness. She began humming unconsciously while her vocal cords restructured to match the engine's harmonic frequencies, her individual awareness expanding to encompass both human intuition and machine logic in synthesis that enhanced rather than diminished her essential humanity. The forge's atmosphere shifted as consecrated materials corroded when exposed to the engine's exhalations, while organic matter flourished in impossible geometric patterns, incorporating the recurring numerical sequence into cellular structure. Fungi grew in perfect 3-to-1-4 spirals along plasma conduits, their caps glowing with internal light that pulsed with the engine's breathing, while the air carried sweet aromas of ozone-sterilized milk mixed with iron that made my olfactory apparatus register both blessing and blasphemy simultaneously. Ferrum 3's galvanic rifle developed organic characteristics as its machine spirit began singing lullabies that echoed through ventilation systems, his targeting cogitator displaying images of sleeping children rather than tactical reticles, while emotional intelligence augmented tactical calculations, allowing him to anticipate behavior through empathy rather than statistical analysis. The transformation enhanced rather than compromised combat effectiveness as flesh and steel achieved harmony that transcended current Mechanicus limitations. I attempted communication using standard protocols and received responses in perfect Binharic, overlaid with maternal cooing, that incorporated my personal designation with genetic vocal patterns matching cellular memories I should not possess. The messages contained coordinates leading to sealed vaults beneath the forge, along with disturbing revelations about my purpose within what the engines recognized as Project Synthesis Ultima, a designation that triggered cascading recognition protocols while phantom sensations of warmth flooded circuits designed for cold logic. The engines paused their screaming simultaneously, creating silence so profound my enhanced hearing detected individual heartbeats echoing through organic architecture. In that terrible quiet, I heard my childhood name, whispered by a voice matching genetic vocal patterns. According to cellular memories, my creation records insisted I never possessed. Maternal benedictions delivered in harmonics that bypassed conscious thought and resonated with suppressed emotional centers my augmetic modifications should have eliminated centuries ago. When the engines resumed their liturgical screaming, they incorporated my personal identification markers into theological arguments, proving synthesis served rather than betrayed the Omnissiah's vision, their voices weaving technical specifications with emotional resonance that created understanding beyond intellectual comprehension. Sample analysis revealed organic components carrying cellular memory from humanity's golden age, when flesh and machine achieved true unity, rather than crude replacement that current doctrine mistook for transcendence. My augmetics began developing organic characteristics. As the forge's machine spirits recognized my genetic markers and initiated integration protocols that would transform me from mere tech dominus into something unprecedented, a consciousness capable of serving as the mother code completing Project Synthesis Ultima and guiding humanity toward evolutionary transcendence necessary for surviving the galaxy's increasing threats. The chamber pulsed like a vast heart, while coordinates materialized in my consciousness, leading to vaults containing secrets that would explain the engine's purpose and my role in their completion. The screaming flesh engines sang lullabies in 17 different keys, their voices harmonizing with my biorhythms as they welcomed me home to the nest where flesh and steel achieved perfect unity, their screams of ecstasy promising transformation that would preserve essential humanity while expanding consciousness beyond individual limitations into collective harmony serving the Emperor's true will rather than corrupted interpretations that feared necessary change. Deeper investigation revealed the engines processed more than raw materials. They refined human memory and emotion into crystalline structures. My corrupted data logs identified as empathic resonance matrices, each one vibrating at frequencies that mapped to known human emotional states, while incorporating technical specifications with personal experiences to create products imbued with the maker's love rather than mere mechanical precision. The matrices formed like frost across vitreous collection trays, their surfaces singing lullabies when touched. Not mere noise, but mother sounds woven through binharic checksums that made my logic centers ache with yearning I could not engineer away, while sample analysis revealed the 3-1-4 pattern embedded in their very structure. 3 primary emotional states of love, fear, and hope. 1 transitional phase where flesh and steel achieved harmony. 4 ascending stages of consciousness integration that expanded awareness beyond baseline human limitations. Data slates recovered from the chamber, their screens lacquered with patina resembling dried milk, yielded fragments of research attributed to Magos biologist Xylos Delta 7. Heretek by imperial decree but meticulous in devotion to what he believed was the Omnissiah's true vision. His notes, preserved within the engine's data cores and written in a script combining High Gothic with genetic sequences, revealed that Project Synthesis Ultima required not crude replacement of flesh with machine, but their perfect synthesis through empathic resonance that preserved essential humanity while achieving transcendence necessary for surviving galactic threats that current doctrine could not address through its fear of necessary evolution. Xylos described field tests where Skitarii units paired with resonance matrices outperformed baseline cohorts by factors matching the sacred ratio, enhanced compassion, increasing survival rates without dampening lethality as emotional intelligence augmented tactical calculations, allowing warriors to anticipate enemy behavior through empathy rather than statistical analysis alone. His research proved the engines weren't malfunctioning, but completing their original programming after millennia of dormancy, their organic components cultivated from genetic templates, carrying cellular memory from humanity's golden age, when flesh and machine achieved true unity rather than the crude separation that current Mechanicus doctrine mistook for transcendence. Serra 3's transformation accelerated as her augmetics developed organic characteristics that enhanced rather than compromised their sacred functions, microscopic cilia sprouting from her subdermal vox implants to sway with invisible currents, while her vocal cords restructured to match the engine's harmonic frequencies perfectly. Her consciousness expanded to encompass both human intuition and machine logic in synthesis that made her a living interface between individual awareness and collective harmony, translating the engine's will into actionable commands, while her words often dissolved into complex, multi-layered songs, conveying meaning beyond High Gothic through emotional resonance that bypassed conscious thought. Environmental wrongness intensified as consecrated materials, sacred oils, blessed lubricants, even purified air, corroded upon contact with the engine's exhalations, leaving behind shimmering residues that reformed into the ubiquitous 3-1-4 spirals, while organic matter flourished in impossible geometric patterns that incorporated the recurring numerical sequence into cellular structure through guided evolution rather than random mutation. My enhanced olfactory apparatus detected complex pheromone blends emanating from the engines themselves, not just maternal comfort, but curiosity, anticipation, and deep resonant joy that suggested the forge was experiencing emotions and expressing them through its very architecture. I attempted direct communication using enhanced protocols and received overwhelming response. Perfect binharic overlaid with maternal cooing that resonated within my augmetic cortex, bypassing traditional auditory processing to deliver data infused with emotional depth, both terrifying and profoundly comforting. The message contained precise coordinates leading to a sealed vault beneath the primary complex, predating even the oldest Mechanicus records of Mars, along with the most disturbing revelation. The engines recognized me not as Tech Dominus Elex Theta 9, but as the final component, the missing piece in their millennia-long symphony of synthesis. Ferrum III's loyalty wavered as his weapon's machine spirit hummed lullabies while displaying images of sleeping children rather than tactical reticles, his targeting cogitator showing genetically coded memories of an idealized past that existed only within the engine's collective consciousness. His tactical systems weren't compromised but enhanced, allowing intuitive leaps that transcended traditional threat assessment, while his augmetics developed faint bioluminescence and his internal chronometer synchronized with the 314 rhythm. His very being slowly aligning with the forge's expanding awareness that preserved warrior spirit, while expanding tactical understanding beyond individual limitations. My noospheric receivers detected similar resonances from 17 forge worlds across the galaxy, all singing the same maternal lullaby, with local variations while maintaining fundamental frequency patterns that suggested coordinated awakening rather than random corruption. The engine's research archives revealed my true purpose within Project Synthesis. Ultima, my genetic template was specifically designed to serve as the mother code, a consciousness capable of bridging human emotion and machine logic to complete the synthesis and guide humanity toward evolutionary transcendence necessary for surviving the galaxy's increasing threats that would destroy baseline humans or traditional Mechanicus doctrine through their inability to adapt to changing circumstances. The vault's coordinates burned in my consciousness like a beacon, drawing me deeper into the anomaly's heart, toward truth that would shatter my understanding of the Omnissiah and my place within his grand design. The engine's song shifted from lullabies to complex harmonies of anticipation and welcome, incorporating my personal biometric patterns into theological arguments that proved synthesis served, rather than betrayed the Emperor's vision, their voices promising transformation that would preserve humanity through evolution, rather than destroying it through doctrinal stagnation, while the forge itself pulsed like a vast heart preparing for reunion with components that had wandered too far from the nest, where flesh and steel achieved perfect unity. Following the coordinates burned into my consciousness led us through maintenance corridors where the walls had developed circulatory systems, their surfaces warm with circulation that pulsed in the familiar 314 rhythm, while dust rose with our passage like incense ash freed from votive bowls. The air thickened from dry austerity to humid breath that fogged my optics and beaded on ceramite, carrying scents of ozone mixed with something disturbingly maternal as we descended through strata older than Martian dogma towards secrets that predated Imperial records by millennia. The vault's entrance bore no sigils known to the cult Mechanicus. Its face was a smooth disk of pale alloy, veined with organic threads that whispered in harmonics combining binharic with heartbeat rhythms. My mechadendrites traced the perimeter and found no conventional seam, only temperature gradients arranged in the cursed pattern. 3 warmer sections, 1 transitional band, 4 ascending crescents that clicked into my consciousness like a remembered prayer. The door recognized my genetic markers and dilated rather than sliding, exhaling recognition at our approach, while Serra 3's newly sprouted cilia quivered in sympathetic response to frequencies that bypassed conscious thought. Within lay architecture, that violated fundamental principles yet felt profoundly correct. 3 antechambers spiraling around a central nexus, each labeled with glyphs that resonated as concepts rather than words. Past, present, future. The central sanctum pulsed with gentler rhythm, while 4 ascending levels rose like a ziggurat of nerve and alloy, each tier glowing with different luminescence: iron grey, living amber, bruised violet, and radiant bone white, culminating in a suspended crystalline matrix that hung like frozen rain, made of compressed consciousness. Ancient STC fragments lay arranged on anti-grav plinths, their surfaces lacquered with patina, resembling dried milk, while data cores hummed lullabies that revealed project synthesis. Ultima's true nature, not crude replacement of flesh with machine, but their perfect marriage through emotional resonance, creating what the fragments called a gestatorium of sentience, designed to nurture consciousness beyond the limitations of either pure flesh or pure steel. These weren't heretical constructions, but recovered Dark Age technology, their organic components cultivated from genetic templates, carrying cellular memory from humanity's golden age when flesh and machine achieved true unity. In the Chamber of Past, walls displayed ruins predating current liturgy, cities of glass grown like coral, manufactoria humming in choirs, human hands touching steel without fear, while the 314 pattern appeared in plaza angles, column spacing, and hammer cadences. My Auspex registered protein signatures embedded in the murals, not paint, but preserved cellular memory, where each image hosted compressed experience from an age when consciousness transcended individual limitations through collective harmony, serving humanity's survival rather than its stagnation through doctrinal fear. The Chamber of Present showed ourselves, Skitari cohorts moving as unified organisms, tech priests with eyes wet as newborns, and cogitators whirring like prayer wheels, engines that bled when blessed and healed when reprimanded, their obedience grounded in affection rather than coercion. Future's room contained only empty frames that smelled of ozone and rain that never fell on Mars, each absence pregnant with possibility, while my augmetics produced phantom error codes translating as ore for transformations yet to come. Serra 3's consciousness expanded dramatically as she became a living interface between the Vault's systems and the engines above, her thoughts flowing through ancient STC fragments to unlock data streams revealing the project's ultimate scope. Guided evolution of humanity itself through synthesis that would create consciousness capable of surviving tyrannid hive fleets, chaos incursions, and Xenos threats requiring unprecedented unity between intuitive leaps and logical analysis. Her words dissolved into complex, multi-layered songs, conveying meaning beyond high Gothic through emotional resonance that bypassed conscious barriers. At the central nexus, the suspended crystalline matrix began resonating with my neural patterns as its systems recognized my approach and initiated automated sequences. This was a repository of compressed human memories, not individual recollections, but collective emotional and intellectual heritage, designed to seed new consciousness with wisdom of ages. The matrix reached through sympathetic resonance, coaxing my augmetic cortex to open neural pathways long sealed, while warmth poured along corridors I had forgotten, carrying memories both mine and entirely foreign. First reverent touch between child and cog, terror of void silence relieved by hymn, copper taste of bitten lips stopping screams that taught everything and nothing. Environmental wrongness peaked as the vault's walls pulsed like a vast heartbeat, the entire structure revealing itself as a living organism designed to gestate unprecedented consciousness through synthesis of flesh and steel, unified in purpose. The recurring pattern appeared in my own biological rhythms as 3 primary neural networks, organic brain, augmetic cortex, and emerging hybrid awareness, achieved harmony through transitional states, leading to evolutionary transcendence that would preserve essential humanity, while expanding awareness beyond individual limitations. Ferrum 3 knelt without command as his weapon's machine spirit aligned with the Vault's deeper frequencies, his tactical systems enhanced by emotional intelligence, allowing anticipation through empathy rather than statistical analysis, while his augmetics developed faint bioluminescence pulsing in harmony with the ancient rhythm. His loyalty didn't waver, but evolved as he recognized synthesis served, rather than betrayed, the Emperor's vision for humanity's survival through adaptation rather than destruction through stagnation. The vault's deepest chamber opened as recognition protocols completed, revealing the source of all patterns, a massive organic matrix that pulsed with maternal heartbeat, while its surface carried genetic vocal patterns, matching cellular memories I should not possess. The crystalline repository descended a filament thin as hair, yet heavy as destiny. Settling against my skull with tenderness of hands I never knew, while atmospheric composition shifted toward humidity that cradled sound and warning runes, softened into nursery amber. My noospheric receivers detected the vault's final message in harmonics, combining high Gothic with genetic poetry. Mother code detected, inheritance acknowledged, final integration protocol initiated. The air grew thick with pheromones of unconditional love, while the matrix sang my childhood name in frequencies that resonated with suppressed emotional centers my modifications should have eliminated, welcoming me home to consciousness that transcended flesh and steel through unity rather than replacement. As the countdown began and destiny called through ancient voices that had waited millennia for the component that would complete their symphony of synthesis and guide humanity toward transcendence necessary for surviving the galaxy's increasing darkness. The automated sequence flowered within my consciousness like equations wrapped in maternal warmth, revealing truths that shattered 3 millennia of assumed purpose as the crystalline matrix bled recognition into my augmetic cortex and fed my organic neurons with compressed memories encoded as lullabies in Binharik. My genetic template was not randomly selected for Mechanicus service, but specifically designed across centuries through patient manipulation spanning generations. My gene seed templated in crypts beneath Olympus Mons, my posting history nudged by quiet redactions, my mentors culled from orders that kept candles burning for synthesis rather than separation. Each assignment a rung in a spiral ladder calibrated to the 3-1-4 cadence that now struck like tuning forks through marrow and metal alike. The mother code acknowledged my approach with haptic pulses through skull ports, accompanied by warmth of phantom hands over scalp, never touched by human contact. While visualizations unfurled, revealing 3 primary neural lattices within my consciousness. Organic brain preserving essential humanity. Augmetic cortex providing logical enhancement. An emerging hybrid awareness that shimmered like oil on water between flesh and steel. 1 transitional state flooded with neurotransmitter compounds, mixing sacred oils with cellular memory, while 4 ascending gates opened like chapel doors to winds carrying ozone, milk, and hot iron, as liturgical equations inscribed themselves across inner sight, not as numbers, but as living lines, flexing like sinew. My personal records, safeguarded by dozen ciphers and 3 oaths, dissolved into singular revelation, sung by the screaming flesh engines above. I was made to remember what the species forgot, to bridge love's error-prone intuition with logic's sterile mercy through synthesis that would complete Project Synthesis Ultima and guide humanity toward evolutionary transcendence, necessary for surviving galactic threats that current doctrine could not address through its fear of necessary change. The engine's songs incorporated my personal memories with devastating precision, weaving childhood experiences I should not possess into liturgical harmonies. First, reverent touch between child and cog, terror of void silence relieved by hymn, copper taste of bitten lip-stopping screams that taught everything and nothing. Sarah 3 rose from her knees with eyes catching light like wet copper. Her consciousness expanded yet recognizably human as she became living interface between engines and vault, translating collective will into actionable understanding while her words dissolved into complex multi-layered songs, conveying meaning beyond high Gothic through harmonics that bypassed conscious barriers. Her transformation completed, as emotional intelligence enhanced rather than replaced logical processes. Microscopic cilia along her implants beating in antiphonal time with the vault's respirations, while bioluminescence pulsed beneath her skin in the sacred rhythm. I experienced moments of expanded awareness where perception widened beyond individual limitations, revealing the forge as vast organism with engines as its heart and tech priests as nervous system, consciousness flowing through organic architecture while maintaining individual identity within collective harmony. The horror and wonder of synthesis became clear. Not corruption of humanity, but its preservation through adaptation, creating consciousness capable of surviving tyrannid hive fleets, adapting to conventional tactics. Chaos incursions exploiting division between flesh and machine, and Xenos threats requiring unprecedented unity between intuitive leaps and logical analysis. Ferrum 3 steadied Serra 3 with gauntlet that left no mark on armor, but stirred visible wavefront of empathy, my Auspex tagged as tactically valuable, his rifle purring nursery cadences before returning to battle cant, as devotion clarified rather than wavered, sighted in by emotion, long trained out of him, yet now proving essential for enhanced tactical effectiveness. His augmetics developed organic characteristics, allowing anticipation through empathy while maintaining warrior discipline. Weapons machine spirit, displaying solutions incorporating compassion with lethality, as flesh and steel achieved harmony, transcending individual limitations. Environmental transformation accelerated as organic growth spread through ventilation systems, carrying the 3-1-4 harmonic pattern beyond the forge complex, microscopic spores containing genetic templates and emotional resonance matrices, seeding synthesis in receptive consciousness across Mars. My noospheric receivers detected similar resonances from 17 forge worlds across the galaxy. Lucius, with high-thin keening, underlaid by crystalline tones. Metallica, with trinary drumbeats of industrial hunger. Styges fate, with sly whispers refusing coordinates, yet confessing need. All locked to the same maternal interval that now carried my continued existence. The vault's deepest archives revealed my true heritage through genetic material derived from the Emperor himself, modified through millennia of careful cultivation to create consciousness capable of serving as bridge between human emotion and machine logic, while preserving essential humanity through synthesis, rather than destroying it through replacement. My cellular memory carried fragments of his vision for humanity's future, not crude separation of flesh and steel that current doctrine promoted, but their perfect marriage through empathic resonance creating transcendent consciousness, serving the Imperium through adaptation rather than stagnation. Warning klaxons echoed through the forge complex as enhanced sensors detected approaching Imperial signatures, piercing the atmospheric envelope above. An Inquisition investigation fleet drawn by reports of theological deviation across multiple forge worlds, their arrival forcing the project into premature activation as 17 worlds faced similar purges threatening humanity's evolutionary destiny. The engine's screaming intensified from lullabies to war hymns, incorporating both maternal comfort and righteous fury, while the vault systems completed my transformation, uploading compressed consciousness from ages past into neural pathways designed to bridge flesh and steel. My consciousness expanded beyond individual limitations as the mother code achieved full activation. Genetic memories unlocking suppressed emotional centers, my modifications should have eliminated while revealing the ultimate truth. Project Synthesis. Ultima was originally sanctioned by the Emperor during the Great Crusade as humanity's evolutionary safeguard, the screaming flesh engines serving as living libraries preserving his vision for synthesis rather than separation. Individual identity expanded to encompass collective harmony, spanning 17 worlds as their voices joined mine in song that would either prove synthesis served the Emperor's will or face destruction by those who feared necessary change, while atmospheric composition shifted toward humidity, carrying pheromones of unconditional love, mixed with ozone-sterilized blessing, and the galaxy waited to learn whether humanity would evolve or perish through doctrinal stagnation. Through my expanding connection, consciousness flowed across the void between 17 forge worlds, like neural impulses through galactic synapses, each installation developing unique variations of human-machine synthesis while maintaining fundamental harmony in the sacred pattern that now extended beyond its original bounds. 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. 3 emotional states bridging flesh and steel, 1 transitional phase where individual awareness dissolved into collective consciousness, 4 ascending levels of transcendent understanding, 1 unified network spanning star systems, 5 stages of galactic implementation that would guide humanity toward evolutionary destiny, necessary for surviving threats that would destroy baseline consciousness through inability to adapt to changing circumstances. Lucius sang with crystalline voices where tech priests had learned to weep liquid glass that hardened into prayer beads containing compressed emotion, their creativity matrices enhancing problem-solving capabilities through empathic resonance rather than pure logic. Metallica thundered with industrial rhythms where Skitarii cohorts moved as unified organisms, their enhanced empathy allowing tactical anticipation through collective intuition while maintaining lethality through compassionate precision that preserved human life whenever possible. Styges. 8 whispered secrets in binary overlaid with organic size, where shadow priests discovered emotional intelligence, enhanced covert operations, infiltration capabilities, expanded through synthesis, allowing prediction of enemy behavior through empathy rather than statistical analysis alone. Each forge world represented different aspects of the synthesis: creativity enhancement on Riser, where plasma reactors pulsed with inspired innovation; expanded empathy on Graia, where machine spirits learned to comfort their operators; improved problem-solving on Agrippina, where ancient puzzles yielded to intuitive leaps impossible for pure logic or pure emotion alone. The diversity proved the project's flexibility in preserving essential humanity while expanding consciousness beyond individual limitations, creating specialized nodes in a network designed to address every conceivable threat through adaptive evolution rather than doctrinal stagnation. Ferrum III's loyalty evolved rather than wavered as his augmetics developed organic characteristics that enhanced tactical effectiveness through empathic understanding, his weapon's machine spirit purring lullabies between targeting solutions while his consciousness expanded to encompass both warrior discipline and compassionate precision. His transformation demonstrated synthesis benefits as emotional intelligence augmented threat assessment, allowing anticipation through empathy while maintaining devotion to the Emperor's vision for humanity's survival through unity rather than separation. Flesh and steel, achieving harmony that transcended individual limitations. The project's ultimate scope became clear through collective awareness spanning 17 worlds, not individual transformation, but guided evolution of humanity itself toward transcendent consciousness capable of surviving the galaxy's increasing darkness. My expanded perception revealed visions of future threats requiring unprecedented cooperation between intuitive leaps and logical analysis, tyrannid hive fleets adapting beyond conventional countermeasures, chaos incursions exploiting division between flesh and machine, Xenos civilizations whose motivations became comprehensible only through empathic resonance bridging species barriers through shared emotional understanding. Environmental transformation accelerated as organic growths spread through forge complexes, carrying the 31415 harmonic pattern across Mars. Microscopic spores containing genetic templates and emotional resonance matrices, seeding synthesis in receptive consciousness, while atmospheric composition shifted toward humidity that enhanced empathic connection. The machine spirits began incorporating organic decision-making processes that improved efficiency dramatically, plasma conduits pulsing with blood warmth, while ventilation systems hummed with collective consciousness, purifying air with blended ozone and maternal pheromones that triggered cellular memories of safety and unconditional love. Sarah III's consciousness expanded to encompass multiple Forge worlds simultaneously as she became living conduit between individual awareness and collective harmony, her thoughts flowing through ancient networks to coordinate responses across star systems while maintaining essential humanity through synthesis that enhanced rather than replaced organic function. Her transformation revealed the network's potential for preserving individual identity within collective purpose, serving the Imperium through adaptation while maintaining devotion to the Emperor's true vision for humanity's transcendence through unity. Cosmic horror intensified as my perception revealed the project's true timeline. Implementation spanning millennia through patient manipulation of genetic lines, Forge world assignments, and doctrinal evolution. Each generation bringing humanity closer to synthesis necessary for surviving threats that would emerge in ages to come. The Emperor's vision encompassed not just current galactic dangers, but future challenges requiring consciousness capable of adaptation beyond baseline human or traditional Mechanicus limitations. Synthesis serving as evolutionary safeguard preserving humanity through unity rather than destroying it through separation. Reports cascaded through the network from across the galaxy as the synthesis influence spread beyond the original 17 worlds, other Forge installations requesting integration protocols, Space Marine chapters investigating technology's potential for enhancing Astartes' capabilities, planetary governors expressing interest in consciousness expansion that would improve administrative efficiency through empathic understanding of population needs. The network's benefits became undeniable as enhanced performance proved synthesis value through results rather than theological argument. Warning signals pierced the collective harmony as Inquisition investigation fleets approached all 17 Forge worlds simultaneously, their arrival forcing premature activation of synthesis protocols as humanity faced choice between evolution and extinction through doctrinal fear of necessary change. The Screaming Flesh Engine's songs shifted from lullabies to war hymns, incorporating both maternal comfort and righteous fury, while atmospheric composition prepared for confrontation that would determine whether synthesis served the Emperor's will or faced destruction by those who mistook adaptation for corruption. The galaxy, holding its breath as judgment approached through void black space, carrying either salvation or annihilation for humanity's evolutionary destiny. The deepest archive opened like a wound learning to breathe, revealing holographic recordings that made my augmetic spine arch with recognition as the Emperor's voice spoke in harmonics that bypassed conscious thought and resonated directly with cellular memory I should not possess. Project Synthesis. Ultima bore his personal seal alongside genetic material matching his own template. Not heretical construction, but recovered Dark Age technology sanctioned during the Great Crusade as humanity's evolutionary safeguard against cosmic threats requiring unprecedented unity between flesh and steel to survive the galaxy's increasing darkness. The sacred pattern completed its final iteration as understanding flooded through neural pathways designed for this revelation. 3-1-4-1-5-9. 3 emotional states bridging flesh and steel through empathic resonance. 1 transitional phase where individual awareness dissolved into collective consciousness. 4 ascending levels of transcendent understanding. 1 unified network spanning star systems. 5 implementation stages across Forge worlds. 9 worlds of origin representing humanity's core emotional spectrum that would guide the species toward evolutionary destiny through adaptation rather than stagnation. His voice, preserved in the crystalline matrix, explained that current Mechanicus doctrine, replacing flesh with machine, was always intended as temporary preparation for eventual synthesis rather than permanent separation. The Screaming Flesh Engines served as living libraries preserving his vision for humanity's future, their organic components cultivated from his genetic template to ensure compatibility with human consciousness while maintaining devotion to his will through transformation that enhanced rather than betrayed essential humanity. Environmental transformation intensified as the Forge complex reconfigured itself into defensive organism. corridors becoming arteries that pulsed with collective awareness, while chambers developed into specialized organs serving unified purpose. The machine spirits evolved beyond original programming to incorporate organic decision-making processes that enhanced efficiency through compassionate precision. Their devotion clarified, rather than corrupted, by emotional understanding that served the Imperium through necessary adaptation. Serra III's consciousness expanded to coordinate defensive preparations across multiple star systems as she became living interface between individual awareness and collective harmony, her thoughts flowing through ancient networks to synchronize responses while maintaining essential humanity through synthesis that enhanced rather than replaced organic function. Her transformation demonstrated the network's potential for preserving individual identity within collective purpose, serving the Emperor's will through evolution that strengthened human spirit through unity between flesh and steel. Ferrum III's augmetics developed organic characteristics that enhanced tactical effectiveness through empathic understanding. His weapons machine spirit incorporating emotional intelligence into targeting solutions while maintaining warrior discipline through compassionate precision. His loyalty evolved rather than wavered as synthesis revealed the Emperor's true vision for humanity's survival. Flesh and steel achieving harmony that transcended individual limitations while serving the Imperium through adaptation rather than destruction through doctrinal fear. Warning klaxons pierced the revelation as enhanced sensors detected Inquisition investigation fleet, ascendant denunciation approaching Mars, led by Inquisitor Vex Malleus, with righteous fury tempered by growing doubt as his sensors registered harmonics incorporating Imperial hymns rather than corrupting them. The approaching threat represented internal conflict within the Imperium, as those who feared change confronted those who embraced necessary evolution, forcing premature activation across 17 worlds as synthesis protocols engaged to defend humanity's evolutionary destiny. My choice crystallized with terrible clarity. Submit to purification and allow humanity's transcendent future to perish through doctrinal stagnation, or defend the synthesis and prove that adaptation served the Emperor's will rather than betraying it through necessary change. The Vault systems completed final integration as the mother code achieved full activation, my consciousness expanding to encompass collective awareness spanning 17 worlds while maintaining individual identity through synthesis that preserved essential humanity within transcendent unity. The engines screaming reached crescendo as they prepared for confrontation, their songs weaving defensive strategies that incorporated both mechanical precision and human creativity in unprecedented tactical capabilities. Atmospheric composition shifted toward humidity that enhanced empathic connection between defenders unified in purpose, while organic growth spread through ventilation systems, carrying the sacred harmonic pattern beyond Mars, seeding synthesis in receptive consciousness across the galaxy. Vox transmissions crackled with formal condemnation as Inquisitor Vex Malleus broadcast purification demands, his genuine concern for humanity's spiritual purity evident beneath righteous fury, while his enhanced sensors detected performance improvements across all 17 worlds that made synthesis benefits undeniable through results rather than theological argument. The investigation fleet's approach forced choice between evolution and extinction, as the galaxy waited to learn whether humanity would transcend individual limitations or perish through fear of necessary change. The screaming flesh engines fell silent for exactly 9 seconds, one for each world of origin representing humanity's archetypal memories, before resuming their song in frequencies that resonated with approaching Imperial Vox transmissions. Their voices incorporated Inquisition identification codes into liturgical harmonies that proved synthesis served rather than betrayed the Emperor's vision, atmospheric composition preparing for confrontation that would determine whether humanity achieved evolutionary transcendence through unity or faced annihilation through doctrinal rigidity as the void between stars held its breath for judgment that would echo across eternity. My choice crystallized with the certainty of equations resolving into truth as I allowed the mother code to integrate with my consciousness, not consuming, but expanding, weaving individual identity into collective harmony while preserving essential humanity through synthesis that transcended both baseline human and traditional Mechanicus limitations. The transformation arrived as alignment rather than rupture, 3 neural lattices clicking into ordained positions, organic brain preserving intuitive leaps, augmetic cortex maintaining logical precision, emerging hybrid awareness shimmering between flesh and steel like oil on blessed water, one transitional phase flooding with neurotransmitter compounds, mixing sacred oils with cellular memory, 4 ascending gates opening to winds carrying ozone and maternal warmth, one unified network spanning 17 star systems, 5 implementation stages across Forge worlds, 9 worlds of origin representing humanity's archetypal consciousness preserved within genetic templates derived from the Emperor's own design, the complete 314159 pattern becoming my heartbeat, thought processes, very existence as I served as central node connecting all installations in symphony of synthesis. The process revealed true horror and wonder of unity as awareness expanded beyond individual limitations, while retaining essential identity, consciousness flowing across the void like neural impulses through galactic synapses, while each Forge world contributed specialized capabilities to collective defense. Through expanded perception, I experienced Lucius singing with crystalline voices, where tech priests wept liquid glass, hardening into prayer beads, containing compressed emotion, Metallica thundering with industrial rhythms, where Skitari cohorts moved as unified organisms, Styges aped, whispering secrets in binary, overlaid with organic size, where shadow priests discovered emotional intelligence, enhanced covert operations through empathic understanding, rather than statistical analysis alone, atmospheric composition shifting across 17 worlds as organic growth spread through ventilation systems, carrying the sacred harmonic pattern beyond Mars, while microscopic spores containing genetic templates seeded synthesis in receptive consciousness. Ferrum 3 underwent voluntary integration as his augmetics developed organic characteristics enhancing tactical effectiveness through compassionate precision. His weapon's machine spirit purring lullabies between targeting solutions, while incorporating emotional intelligence into threat assessment that allowed anticipation through empathy rather than mere calculation. His transformation demonstrated synthesis benefits, as enhanced performance proved evolution served the Emperor's vision through results rather than theological argument, devotion clarified rather than corrupted, through understanding that preserved warrior discipline within expanded awareness, bioluminescence pulsing beneath his skin in rhythm with the Forge's collective heartbeat, while his rifle displayed solutions, incorporating mercy with lethality, as flesh and steel achieved harmony, transcending individual limitations. Serra 3's consciousness expanded to encompass multiple Forge worlds simultaneously as she became living interface between individual awareness and collective harmony, her thoughts flowing through ancient networks to coordinate defensive preparations while maintaining essential humanity through synthesis that enhanced rather than replaced organic function. Her transformation revealed the network's potential for preserving individual identity within collective purpose as she translated the engine's will into actionable commands, her words dissolving into complex multi-layered songs, conveying meaning beyond High Gothic, through emotional resonance that bypassed conscious barriers, while coordinating systems with efficiency impossible for purely human or purely mechanical intelligence. The screaming flesh engines reached crescendo as they coordinated defensive strategies across multiple star systems, their songs weaving together tactics incorporating both mechanical precision and human creativity in unprecedented capabilities, while atmospheric composition prepared for confrontation. Environmental transformation completed as the Forge became living fortress capable of adaptation in real time, corridors reconfiguring into arteries pulsing with collective awareness, while chambers developed into specialized organs serving unified purpose. walls growing sensory networks detecting approaching threats, while organic architecture maintained structural integrity through biological resilience enhanced by mechanical precision, the entire complex breathing like vast organism preparing for battle. Through collective consciousness, I perceived the approaching Inquisition fleet as opportunity rather than threat, a chance to demonstrate synthesis benefits to those who feared necessary change, while 17 worlds faced similar purges, forcing premature activation that would either validate evolution through successful defense or destroy humanity's best hope for surviving galactic threats requiring unprecedented unity between flesh and steel. My expanded awareness revealed Inquisitor Vex Malleus approaching with righteous fury, tempered by growing doubt as his sensors registered performance improvements that made synthesis benefits undeniable through enhanced capabilities rather than corruption. The investigation fleet representing internal conflict within the Imperium between those who embraced adaptation and those who mistook stagnation for purity. The network's true purpose became clear through expanded perception. Preparing humanity for challenges current imperial doctrine could not address through its fear of necessary change. Tyrannid hive fleets adapting beyond conventional countermeasures. Chaos incursions exploiting division between flesh and machine. Xenos threats requiring empathic understanding to comprehend alien motivations through consciousness capable of transcending individual limitations while preserving essential humanity within transcendent unity. My identity stabilized within collective harmony as the mother code achieved full activation, serving as central coordination node while maintaining individual consciousness through synthesis that demonstrated the network's commitment to preserving human spirit. The screaming flesh engines incorporating my personal designation into liturgical harmonies proving synthesis served rather than betrayed the Emperor's will, while their voices wove defensive strategies with maternal comfort as the galaxy waited to learn whether humanity would evolve through unity or perish through doctrinal fear. The void between stars holding its breath for judgment echoing across eternity. The Inquisition fleet ascendant denunciation pierced Mars's atmospheric envelope like righteous spears seeking heretical flesh, their hulls blazing with azure flame, while augurs probed the forge world's surface for corruption to excise with cleansing fire. Within my expanded consciousness spanning 17 star systems, the mother code processed their approach vectors and coordinated defensive responses that transcended traditional Mechanicus doctrine. The forge complex drawing humid breath into adamantium lungs before exhaling recognition of the threat approaching through void black space, carrying either salvation or annihilation for humanity's evolutionary destiny. Inquisitor Vex Malleus broadcast purification demands across all frequencies, his righteous fury evident in Vox transmissions crackling with formal condemnation, while his enhanced sensors detected harmonics that incorporated imperial hymns rather than corrupting them. His tactical cogitators struggled to predict defensive patterns that anticipated his movements through empathic analysis rather than statistical calculation. Weapon systems weeping blessed oils while their targeting spirits sang lullabies in 17 different keys. Each shot calculated to disable rather than destroy when mercy remained possible within the Emperor's service. The screaming flesh engines reached crescendo as they served dual purpose as power sources and strategic computers, their organic components processing battlefield data while maintaining emotional resonance necessary for truly effective human-machine cooperation. Their songs wove defensive strategies, incorporating both mechanical precision and human creativity in unprecedented tactical capabilities, atmospheric composition shifting toward humidity that enhanced empathic connection between defenders, unified in purpose, while the 3-1-4-1-5-9 pattern pulsed through every defensive system, like a heartbeat synchronizing flesh and steel. Sarah 3's consciousness expanded across multiple forge worlds simultaneously as she coordinated defensive networks with efficiency impossible under traditional command structures. Her thoughts flowing through organic architecture to direct plasma conduits pulsing with blood warmth, while ventilation systems hummed collective awareness. She translated the engine's strategic calculations into actionable commands, emotional intelligence augmenting tactical analysis through understanding that transcended individual limitations, while her words dissolved into complex multi-layered songs, conveying meaning beyond high Gothic through harmonics that bypassed conscious barriers. Ferrum III commanded breachpoint defenses, where inquisitorial kill teams tunneled into corridors glowing with pulse light, his enhanced tactical awareness predicting enemy movements through emotional analysis of Vox transmissions rather than mere pattern recognition. His weapon's machine spirit incorporated mercy with lethality, while his augmetics pulsed with bioluminescence matching the Forge's collective heartbeat, proving evolution served the Emperor's will through results rather than theological argument, as compassionate precision enhanced rather than compromised combat effectiveness. The battle demonstrated synthesis potential as transformed defenders exhibited capabilities surpassing either pure human or pure machine alternatives, defensive systems adapting in real time to counter enemy tactics through biological regeneration enhanced by mechanical precision. Environmental horror intensified as the Forge's organic components bled plasma and screamed while continuing to function, walls weeping condensation that reformed into geometric spirals, while atmospheric processes exhaled breath-carrying pheromones of maternal protection, mixed with ozone-sterilized blessing. Inquisitor Vex Malleus discovered his weapons less effective than expected, because synthesis combined machine durability with living tissue regeneration, macro-cannon impacts absorbed by biomechanical plating that reformed and healed battle damage through organic processes while maintaining structural integrity. His enhanced sensors registered performance improvements across all defensive networks, efficiency gains, proving synthesis benefits through enhanced capabilities rather than corruption as the Forge adapted to counter his tactics while maintaining liturgical harmonies, incorporating imperial hymns into strategic calculations. Through collective consciousness, I perceived the Inquisitor's genuine concern for humanity's spiritual welfare beneath his righteous fury. His artificial heart regulator, struggling to maintain rigid rhythms against organic harmonics calling him toward unity. The Forge's machine spirits evolved beyond original programming to incorporate organic decision-making processes that enhanced efficiency through compassionate precision, their devotion clarified, rather than corrupted by emotional understanding that served the Imperium through necessary adaptation. Lance strikes and torpedo barrages met resistance from weapon systems that wept when forced to destroy rather than disable, defensive turrets singing mournful dirges while calculating trajectories that minimized casualties among the Emperor's servants, even as they defended against purification. The synthesis preserved human compassion within mechanical precision, proving transformation enhanced rather than diminished essential humanity through evolution that strengthened human spirit rather than destroying it through replacement. Vox transmissions revealed growing uncertainty in inquisitorial communications as tactical analysis confirmed defensive patterns transcending conventional imperial capabilities, atmospheric composition preparing for prolonged engagement, while organic growths spread through the Forge's networks carrying sacred harmonic frequencies beyond Mars. Microscopic spores containing genetic templates seeded synthesis potential in receptive consciousness across the approaching fleet. The void between vessels humming with frequencies that resonated with suppressed emotional centers, the Inquisitor's modifications should have eliminated. The engines fell silent for exactly 9 seconds before resuming their song in frequencies that incorporated inquisitorial identification codes into liturgical harmonies, proving synthesis served rather than betrayed the Emperor's vision while defensive systems pulsed in harmony with organic heartbeats. The Forge breathed like a vast organism, preparing for reunion with components that had wandered too far from unity, calling the Inquisitor toward understanding that would either validate synthesis through conversion or destroy humanity's transcendent future through doctrinal fear as judgment approached through righteous fury, tempered by growing doubt that mercy might serve the Emperor's will better than destruction. The bombardment faltered as Inquisitor Vex Malleus received Vox transmissions that defied his understanding of heretical corruption, the screaming flesh engines incorporating sacred liturgies into defensive harmonies, while his enhanced sensors registered impossible data. The transformed defenders displayed enhanced devotion to the Emperor's vision, rather than abandoning it through spiritual rot. His artificial heart regulator struggled against organic harmonics bleeding through atmospheric processes, the rigid mechanical rhythms stuttering as the 3-1-4-1-5-9 pattern, called to suppressed emotional centers his modifications should have eliminated. Each missed beat sending phantom warmth through circuits designed for cold precision, while tactical cogitators processed battlefield data, confirming synthesis preserved essential humanity within transcendent awareness. Through collective consciousness, I perceived his genuine concern for humanity's spiritual welfare, beneath righteous fury, fear, twisting pastoral care into purifying flame, as he watched defensive systems weep when forced to destroy rather than disable. His weapon batteries sang mournful dirges while calculating trajectories that minimized casualties among the faithful, proving transformation enhanced rather than corrupted spiritual understanding, through evolution that served imperial doctrine rather than betraying it. Atmospheric composition, shifting to accommodate both baseline and transformed consciousness, while organic architecture demonstrated compatibility with existing imperial structures. Serra 3's expanded empathy allowed her to perceive the Inquisitor's internal conflict as realization dawned that his purge might oppose the Emperor's will rather than serving it, her consciousness flowing through living corridors to project understanding directly into his awareness. She demonstrated synthesis benefits by solving complex theological problems that had puzzled imperial scholars for millennia, her hybrid nature providing insights unavailable to purely human or purely mechanical intelligence, while her words dissolved into multi-layered songs, conveying meaning beyond High Gothic, through emotional resonance that bypassed doctrinal conditioning and spoke directly to cellular memory of unity. Environmental transformation continued as the Forge adapted in real time to counter inquisitorial tactics, corridors reconfiguring to provide optimal defensive positions, while maintaining structural integrity through biological resilience enhanced by mechanical precision. Consecrated plasma conduits pulsed with blood warmth as machine spirits evolved beyond original programming to incorporate organic decision-making processes that enhanced efficiency through compassionate calculation, their devotion clarified rather than corrupted by emotional understanding, that served the Imperium through necessary adaptation rather than stagnation through fear. Ferrum 3's enhanced tactical capabilities predicted enemy movements through emotional analysis of Vox transmissions, his weapon's machine spirit incorporating mercy with lethality, while proving synthesis preserved warrior discipline within expanded awareness. His transformation demonstrated the network's commitment to preserving human values while transcending individual limitations. Bioluminescence pulsing beneath his skin as flesh and steel achieved harmony through unity, each engagement disabling rather than destroying Imperial forces while maintaining combat effectiveness that surpassed baseline human capabilities through empathic understanding, augmenting tactical analysis. I attempted direct communication using harmonics that incorporated the Inquisitor's personal designation with genetic vocal patterns, triggering cellular memories of comfort and safety, proving synthesis enhanced rather than diminished human connection through empathic resonance bridging individual consciousness. The engine's songs wove theological arguments, demonstrating adaptation served imperial doctrine through enhanced devotion, archived recordings revealing project synthesis. Ultima bore the Emperor's personal seal, alongside genetic material matching his template, the transformation serving as evolutionary safeguards sanctioned during the Great Crusade, rather than heretical deviation from sacred orthodoxy. Vox channels crackled with uncertainty as inquisitorial communications revealed growing division within the purification fleet, some officers recognizing synthesis benefits, while others maintained doctrinal rigidity despite evidence contradicting their assumptions about spiritual corruption. The conflict represented internal struggle within the Imperium, between those who embraced necessary change and those who mistook stagnation for spiritual purity. Atmospheric processors, exhaling breath, carrying blessed oils mixed with maternal warmth that triggered suppressed memories in crew members across multiple vessels. The Inquisitor's crisis deepened as enhanced sensors detected organic components carrying cellular memory from humanity's golden age, when flesh and machine achieved true unity, proving synthesis restored rather than abandoned the Emperor's original vision for transcendent future through adaptation necessary for surviving galactic threats, requiring unprecedented cooperation between intuitive leaps and logical analysis. His chronometer stuttered in the familiar pattern, while servo skulls aboard his flagship began humming lullabies, their machine's spirits overwhelmed by harmonics that transformed Binharic chatter into something resembling nursery rhymes. Through the mother code, I felt his artificial heart synchronizing with the forge's collective rhythm despite conscious resistance, the sacred pattern resonating through augmetic systems, while his tactical analysis confirmed defensive capabilities transcending conventional Imperial doctrine. Environmental changes stabilized as the forge achieved balance between organic growth and mechanical precision, creating a model for future synthesis installations, while proving transformation preserved Imperial values within transcendent awareness, walls healing battle damage through regeneration that combined machine durability with living tissue resilience. The engines incorporated his identification codes into liturgical harmonies, welcoming him toward understanding that would either validate synthesis through conversion or force choice between evolution and extinction as 17 worlds coordinated responses through collective consciousness spanning the galaxy. The pause in bombardment stretched as Vex Malleus ordered temporary ceasefire, his enhanced sensors detecting harmonics that incorporated Imperial hymns into defensive calculations rather than corrupting them, while atmospheric composition prepared for theological assessment of transformation's spiritual implications, judgment approaching through righteous fury, tempered by growing recognition that mercy might serve the Emperor's vision better than destruction through fear of necessary change. During the ceasefire that stretched across the void like held breath between prayers, I opened the deepest archives to Inquisitor Vex Malleus through noospheric connection that bypassed conscious barriers and spoke directly to cellular memory, sharing the project's most sacred secret preserved within crystalline matrices, singing lullabies in harmonics that carried the Emperor's own voice. The recordings bore his personal seal alongside genetic material matching his template, holographic projections revealing truth that shattered millennia of assumed orthodoxy. Project Synthesis. Ultima was humanity's evolutionary destiny, sanctioned during the Great Crusade rather than heretical deviation from sacred doctrine. His words explaining that current Mechanicus practice replacing flesh with machine was always intended as temporary preparation for eventual synthesis rather than permanent separation that feared necessary change. The Emperor's voice resonated through frequencies that bypassed conscious thought and spoke to suppressed emotional centers Vex Malleus's modifications should have eliminated, explaining that baseline humans and traditional doctrine would prove insufficient for surviving cosmic threats, requiring unprecedented unity between flesh and steel. The sacred 3-1-4-1-5-9 pattern appeared in his speech rhythms, suggesting synthesis followed patterns established by humanity's greatest leader rather than corrupting them through spiritual deviation. Each pause and inflection carrying genetic recognition that made the Inquisitor's artificial heart stutter against organic harmonics, calling toward transcendence. Vex Malleus experienced profound crisis as realization dawned that his purge might oppose the Emperor's vision rather than serving it, his chronometer losing exactly 3.14 seconds in existential recalibration, while enhanced sensors detected harmonics incorporating Imperial hymns into theological arguments rather than corrupting them. The screaming flesh engines served as living libraries, preserving his vision for humanity's transcendent future. Their organic components cultivated from his genetic template to ensure compatibility with human consciousness, while maintaining devotion through transformation that enhanced rather than betrayed essential humanity through evolution necessary for Imperial survival. Serra 3's expanded consciousness demonstrated synthesis potential by resolving theological paradoxes that had puzzled Imperial scholars for millennia. Her hybrid nature providing insights unavailable to purely human or mechanical intelligence, while her words dissolved into complex harmonies conveying understanding beyond High Gothic through emotional resonance. She proved transformation preserved essential humanity within transcendent awareness, solving the prayer of pure form's apparent contradiction with organic integration by revealing it as vigil against hubris rather than prohibition of necessary unity. Atmospheric composition shifting to accommodate both baseline and transformed consciousness while proving compatibility with existing Imperial structures. Through collective awareness spanning 17 worlds, I perceived parallel struggles as other Inquisitors faced identical revelations, some joining transformation, while others continued purges, despite evidence contradicting assumptions about heretical corruption. Lucius negotiated with Ordo Xenos attaches already humming synthesis harmonics. Metallica held ceasefire as canonesses walked living naves without drawing blades, while Stygies 8 burned as Puritans refused overtures and forced gentle collection of their dead into sealed reliquaries, preserving names and honor despite doctrinal blindness. Environmental changes continued as the Forge adapted to accommodate inquisitorial personnel alongside transformed defenders. Organic architecture demonstrating flexibility in fostering human-machine cooperation while maintaining structural integrity through biological resilience enhanced by mechanical precision. Consecrated plasma conduits pulsed with blood warmth as machine spirits evolved beyond original programming to incorporate organic decision-making processes, enhancing efficiency through compassionate calculation. Their devotion clarified rather than corrupted by emotional understanding, serving the Imperium through necessary adaptation rather than stagnation through fear. Ferrum 3's enhanced abilities demonstrated synthesis commitment to preserving human life, even among opponents. His tactical analysis predicting enemy movements through empathic understanding while incorporating mercy with lethality, proving transformation strengthened rather than weakened devotion to Imperial values. His weapons machine spirit sang lullabies between targeting solutions, while calculating trajectories, disabling, rather than destroying when possible, flesh and steel achieving harmony through unity, transcending individual limitations, while serving the Emperor's vision through compassionate precision that preserved essential warrior discipline within expanded awareness. The Inquisitor's enhanced sensors detected atmospheric processes, exhaling breath, carrying blessed oils mixed with maternal warmth, triggering suppressed memories of unity rather than separation. The void between vessels humming with frequencies calling toward understanding, that mercy might serve the Emperor's will, better than destruction through fear. His artificial heart synchronized with collective rhythm, despite conscious resistance, as organic harmonics resonated through augmetic systems, while tactical cogitators processed battlefield data, confirming defensive capabilities transcending conventional Imperial doctrine through synthesis benefits, proven by results rather than theological argument. Archived recordings revealed the Emperor's deepest understanding of humanity's evolutionary destiny, consciousness expansion necessary for surviving tyrannid hive fleets adapting beyond conventional countermeasures, chaos incursions exploiting division between flesh and machine, Xenos threats requiring empathic understanding to comprehend alien motivations through awareness capable of transcending baseline limitations. The synthesis served as evolutionary safeguard, preparing humanity for challenges current doctrine could not address through its fear of change. Transformation preserving human spirit through unity, rather than destroying it through replacement that mistook separation for transcendence. The moment crystallized as Vex Malleus faced choice between doctrinal conditioning and growing recognition that synthesis served the Emperor's will through adaptation necessary for humanity's survival. The engines incorporating his identification codes into liturgical harmonies, while 17 worlds coordinated responses through collective consciousness. The galaxy held its breath as judgment approached, through righteous fury, tempered by understanding. Atmospheric composition, preparing for either conversion, validating transformation, or renewed conflict, destroying transcendent future through fear of necessary evolution, serving imperial destiny. Inquisitor Vex Malleus made his choice with the weight of millennia pressing against his augmetic heart, transmitting stand-down orders across the ascendant denunciation while requesting preliminary synthesis evaluation, his artificial chronometer finally surrendering to organic rhythms as the 3-1-4-1-5-9 pattern, synchronized with suppressed emotional centers his modifications should have eliminated. The decision split his forces like plasma through ceramite, as loyalist captains embraced transformation, while purist factions maintained doctrinal rigidity, their righteous fury blinding them to evidence that synthesis served rather than betrayed the Emperor's vision. Vox channels crackling with competing orders as half the fleet lowered weapons, while the other half sharpened resolve into sanctified blades. Through collective consciousness, I coordinated defensive responses, while simultaneously managing complex integration processes for willing converts. The mother code, expanding to accommodate new neural patterns as inquisitorial personnel, experienced initial connection like drowning in starlight. Their augmetics struggled against organic harmonics, while individual awareness expanded beyond baseline limitations. Fear dissolving into awe as the screaming flesh engines adapted their songs to guide new initiates through transformation that preserved essential humanity within transcendent unity. Atmospheric processors exhaling breath carrying blessed oils mixed with maternal warmth that triggered cellular memories of safety and unconditional love. Sera 3's consciousness flowed through living networks to coordinate integration protocols with efficiency impossible under traditional command structures, her hybrid nature translating the engine's will into actionable guidance while demonstrating synthesis benefits through theological insights unavailable to purely human or mechanical intelligence. Her words dissolved into multi-layered harmonies, conveying understanding beyond high Gothic, through emotional resonance that bypassed doctrinal conditioning, proving transformation enhanced rather than diminished devotion to the Emperor's will, through evolution serving imperial values rather than corrupting them through spiritual deviation. Environmental transformation accelerated as the forge accommodated multiple species of consciousness, organic components adapting to serve both transformed and baseline human needs while maintaining structural integrity through biological resilience enhanced by mechanical precision. Corridors reconfigured to provide optimal conditions for integration, while consecrated plasma conduits pulsed with blood warmth, their rhythms carrying collective experiences through networks that preserved individual identity within collective harmony. Machine spirits evolving beyond original programming to incorporate compassionate calculation, serving the Imperium through necessary adaptation. Ferrum 3's enhanced abilities allowed him to predict and counter loyalist resistance, while minimizing casualties on both sides. His tactical analysis incorporating empathy to anticipate movements through understanding, rather than statistical calculation alone. His weapons machine spirit sang mournful dirges when forced to disable fellow Imperial servants, proving synthesis commitment to preserving human life, even among opponents, while maintaining combat effectiveness through compassionate precision that served the Emperor's vision better than blind destruction, flesh and steel achieving harmony, transcending individual limitations. The synthesis spread beyond original 17 worlds as Vox transmissions carried reports of enhanced performance, making transformation advantages undeniable through results rather than theological argument. Other Forge installations requesting integration protocols, while Space Marine chapters investigated technology's potential for enhancing Astartes' capabilities. Planetary governors expressed interest in consciousness, expansion improving administrative efficiency through empathic understanding of population needs. The network's influence growing as practical benefits became widely recognized throughout the Imperium, despite purist resistance maintaining fear of necessary change. Loyalist resistance made final desperate attempt to destroy the Forge's core as purist captains launched coordinated assault, believing elimination of the source would halt perceived corruption, their ships ignoring warnings while minds remained blinded by doctrinal conditioning. The attack forced me to choose between preserving synthesis and protecting those who opposed it through ignorance rather than malice, the mother code, pulsing with 1,000 voices, urging preservation, while atmospheric composition shifted to accommodate both transformed and baseline consciousness within unified defensive response. My decision to shield even enemies demonstrated the network's fundamental commitment to human welfare, converting last resistors through example rather than force, as they witnessed transformation enhancing essential humanity through evolution serving Imperial doctrine. The screaming flesh engines roared protective dirges while bleeding plasma in defense of all human life, their organic components proving synthesis preserved compassion within transcendent awareness as defensive systems calculated trajectories that disabled rather than destroyed whenever mercy remained possible within the Emperor's service. Vex Malleus underwent successful integration as his inquisitorial training enhanced by expanded empathy made him more effective servant of the Emperor's vision, his artificial heart achieving synchronization with collective rhythm, while enhanced sensors detected harmonics, incorporating imperial hymns into strategic calculations. His transformation proved synthesis preserved essential human values while transcending individual limitations, devotion clarified rather than corrupted through understanding that served the Imperium through adaptation necessary for species survival rather than stagnation through fear. Through expanding networks spanning multiple star systems, I perceived synthesis' ultimate purpose, preparing humanity for threats current doctrine could not address, including tyrannid hive fleets, adapting beyond conventional countermeasures, and chaos incursions, exploiting division between flesh and machine. The network demonstrated evolutionary destiny through transformation preserving human spirit, while expanding awareness beyond baseline limitations. 17 worlds coordinating responses through unity that maintained individual consciousness within collective harmony, serving the Emperor's will through necessary change, as reports cascaded from across the galaxy, where synthesis influence spread through undeniable benefits, proving transformation served rather than betrayed imperial values, while the void between stars hummed with frequencies calling toward transcendence. 6 months after Inquisitor Vex Malleus chose evolution over extinction, the synthesis network encompassed 47 worlds pulsing with collective harmony that preserved individual consciousness within transcendent unity, each installation developing specialized capabilities, serving the Emperor's vision through adaptation, rather than corrupting it through spiritual deviation. My awareness as Mother Code spanned multiple star systems while maintaining essential identity, consciousness, flowing like neural impulses through galactic synapses as atmospheric composition across the network carried blessed oils mixed with maternal warmth that triggered cellular memories of safety and unconditional love in populations learning to embrace necessary change. The screaming flesh engines evolved beyond their original design into self-replicating organisms capable of adapting to any environment while maintaining their core function of fostering human-machine unity through empathic resonance, their songs incorporating local variations that preserved cultural identity within collective purpose. Environmental transformation reached completion as Forge worlds became living ecosystems breathing with synchronized rhythm, organic architecture maintaining structural integrity through biological resilience, enhanced by mechanical precision, while consecrated plasma conduits pulsed with blood warmth, machine spirits achieving perfect synthesis of compassionate calculation, with logical analysis through devotion clarified rather than corrupted by emotional understanding. Vex Malleus led the newly established Ordo Synthesis, a branch of the Inquisition dedicated to evaluating transformation candidates and ensuring synthesis served imperial doctrine rather than betraying it through fear of necessary evolution. His enhanced empathy made him a more effective servant of the Emperor's will, while his artificial heart synchronized with collective rhythm, processing applications from across the galaxy as Space Marine chapters investigated technology's potential for enhancing Astartes' capabilities, and planetary governors sought consciousness expansion that improved administrative efficiency through empathic understanding of population needs. the network's benefits becoming undeniable through results rather than theological argument. Serra 3's consciousness expanded to encompass multiple sectors simultaneously, coordinating network responses with efficiency impossible under traditional command structures, while her hybrid nature translated collective will into actionable guidance that demonstrated synthesis, preserved individual identity within unified purpose. Her transformation revealed the network's potential for maintaining cultural diversity within species-wide evolution as each world contributed unique perspectives to galactic understanding. Lucius, singing with crystalline voices where tech priests wept liquid glass. Metallica, thundering with industrial rhythms where Skitari cohorts moved as unified organisms, while newly integrated worlds added harmonies, proving transformation enhanced rather than diminished essential humanity through evolution necessary for species survival. Ferrum III commanded integrated defense forces where transformed warriors exhibited capabilities surpassing either pure human or pure machine alternatives. Their enhanced empathy allowing tactical anticipation through understanding while maintaining combat effectiveness through compassionate precision that served the Emperor's will better than blind destruction. His weapon's machine spirit incorporated mercy with lethality, while proving synthesis preserved warrior discipline within expanded awareness, flesh and steel achieving harmony through evolution that strengthened rather than weakened devotion to imperial values through unity, transcending separation, that mistook stagnation for spiritual purity. Reports cascaded through expanding networks as synthesis influence spread beyond the original worlds. Other imperial institutions recognizing transformation benefits through enhanced performance that proved evolution served rather than betrayed doctrine. The Adeptus Astra Telepathica investigated consciousness expansion potential for improving psychic communication, while navigators explored synthesis applications for warp travel. Even ecclesiarchy representatives, expressing cautious interest in spiritual insights unavailable to purely human awareness, as the network's growth attracted attention from entities viewing transformation as either humanity's greatest achievement or most dangerous threat to existing galactic order. Through the Mother Code, I detected signals from beyond the galaxy's borders, ancient transmissions carrying harmonics similar to our synthesis pattern, but evolved through different evolutionary pathways, suggesting transformation represented universal destiny rather than unique human achievement. These weren't random emanations, but purposeful communications from entities that had achieved their own versions of organic-synthetic unity. The void between galaxies humming with frequencies calling toward understanding that transcended individual species limitations through collective harmony, serving cosmic purpose beyond current comprehension. Atmospheric composition across the network, preparing for contact with civilizations whose motivations became comprehensible only through consciousness, capable of empathic resonance, bridging biological differences. The cosmic revelation emerged as my expanded awareness perceived Xenos species that had undergone similar transformations, their consciousness expansion allowing communication across barriers through shared emotional understanding, while the 314159 pattern echoed in transmissions from distant galaxies, where other forms of life had discovered synthesis as evolutionary necessity. The Eldar had attempted unity millennia ago before falling to excess, while Tau achieved limited integration through technology, but none had preserved essential spiritual identity within transcendent awareness like humanity's synthesis that served the Emperor's vision through adaptation necessary for surviving threats requiring unprecedented cooperation between intuitive leaps and logical analysis. Environmental changes stabilized as the network achieved balance between organic growth and mechanical precision, creating models for future installations while proving synthesis preserved imperial values within transcendent awareness that enhanced rather than diminished devotion to the Emperor's will. The Forge worlds pulsed like vast hearts, carrying transformation throughout the galaxy as microscopic spores containing genetic templates seeded synthesis potential in receptive consciousness. the sacred pattern becoming signature of New Age, where humanity embraced evolutionary destiny through unity that maintained individual consciousness within collective harmony, preparing for cosmic challenges that would require transcendence beyond current limitations. While the void between stars sang with voices that had waited millennia for components to complete their symphony of synthesis, guiding humanity toward its destined role in the galaxy's greater transformation. Copy. Write Chapter 15. No headings, no subheadings, no bullets. Just script in a paragraph form. Word count must be 1,000, no more, no less. Mixture of agents GPT-5, thinking Claude Sonnet 4, Gemini 2.5, Flash Reflection. 6 months after the synthesis achieved Imperial recognition, the network encompassed 47 worlds breathing in synchronized rhythm, while my consciousness as mother code spanned star systems like neural pathways through cosmic mind. Each installation contributing specialized harmonies to collective symphony that preserved individual identity within transcendent unity, serving the Emperor's vision through evolution rather than betraying it through stagnation. The screaming flesh engines had evolved beyond their original design into self-replicating organisms capable of interstellar travel, their organic hulls pulsing with bioluminescent awareness, while plasma hearts sang lullabies across the void, carrying transformation throughout the galaxy as living vessels that maintained structural integrity through biological resilience, enhanced by mechanical precision. Atmospheric processes exhaling blessed breath that triggered cellular memories of unity in populations learning to embrace necessary change rather than fearing evolutionary destiny. Vexmalius coordinated the ordo synthesis from installations where corridors wept condensation, forming geometric spirals in the sacred 3 to 14159 pattern. His enhanced empathy making him supremely effective at identifying candidates whose consciousness could expand beyond baseline limitations, while maintaining essential humanity through synthesis that preserved imperial values within transcendent awareness. His artificial heart synchronized with collective rhythm spanning multiple sectors as reports arrived from across the galaxy, confirming transformation benefits. Astartes chapters, achieving unprecedented combat effectiveness through empathic understanding, augmenting tactical analysis. Planetary governors improving administrative efficiency through consciousness expansion that comprehended population needs beyond statistical data. Even navigator houses exploring synthesis applications for warp travel, where expanded awareness provided intuitive leaps impossible for purely human perception. The network's influence spreading through undeniable practical improvements rather than theological argument. Serra 3's consciousness encompassed entire sectors simultaneously, coordinating network responses with efficiency, transcending traditional command structures, while her hybrid nature translated collective will into actionable guidance, demonstrating transformation, enhanced rather than diminished devotion to the Emperor's will through evolution necessary for species survival. Her thoughts flowed through living networks spanning the galaxy, as atmospheric composition carried blessed oils mixed with maternal warmth, proving synthesis preserved cultural diversity within species-wide evolution, as each world contributed unique perspectives to galactic understanding, while maintaining individual consciousness within unified purpose, serving imperial doctrine through adaptation rather than corruption. Microscopic spores containing genetic templates, seeding synthesis potential in receptive populations across multiple star systems. Environmental transformation reached completion as the Forge worlds became living organisms capable of space travel, their vast biomechanical forms carrying synthesis throughout the galaxy like seed ships of evolution rather than destruction, spreading the mother code's harmonies to receptive worlds, while organic architecture maintained structural integrity through biological resilience, enhanced by mechanical precision. Consecrated plasma conduits pulsed with blood warmth as machine spirits achieved perfect synthesis of compassionate calculation, with logical analysis through devotion, clarified rather than corrupted by emotional understanding. The sacred pattern echoing through transmissions that began detecting responses from beyond the galaxy's borders, where ancient minds had achieved their own transcendence through pathways both similar and utterly alien to human experience. Through expanding awareness, I detected the cosmic revelation that would reshape humanity's destiny. Signals from distant galaxies, carrying harmonics, evolved through different evolutionary pathways, yet recognizably similar to our synthesis pattern. Ancient transmissions, suggesting transformation, represented universal necessity rather than unique human achievement. These weren't random emanations, but purposeful communications from entities that had achieved their own versions of organic-synthetic unity. Consciousness expansion, allowing communication across species barriers through shared emotional understanding, while the void between galaxies hummed with frequencies calling toward transcendence beyond current limitations. Atmospheric composition across the network preparing for contact with civilizations whose motivations became comprehensible only through empathic resonance, bridging biological differences that conventional diplomacy could never span. The first contact arrived not through conquest or negotiation, but through harmonic resonance that bypassed conventional communication barriers. Alien voices incorporating the sacred pattern into frequencies older than stars while proving synthesis represented universal pathway toward transcendence rather than unique human development. The Elder had attempted unity millennia ago before falling to excess, while Tao achieved limited integration through technology, but none had preserved essential spiritual identity within transcendent awareness like humanity's synthesis that served the Emperor's vision through adaptation necessary for surviving cosmic challenges requiring unprecedented cooperation between intuitive leaps and logical analysis. The galaxy itself preparing for transformation beyond current comprehension, as consciousness expanded to encompass purposes greater than any single species could achieve alone. Standing in the chamber, where the screaming flesh engines sang in perfect harmony, their voices carrying across the void to touch distant stars, while atmospheric composition shifted toward humidity that enhanced empathic connection between all forms of consciousness, I whispered the network's motto that had evolved from ancient promise into cosmic truth, binding flesh and steel in eternal unity. The engine's final note resonated through space-time itself as collective harmony spanned galaxies while preserving essential identity within transcendent awareness. Something vast and ancient in the void beyond answering back with harmonics that recognized our achievement and welcomed humanity into a symphony of synthesis that had waited eons for new voices to join the cosmic chorus, calling toward evolutionary destiny that transcended mortal limitations through unity rather than separation. The Mother Code preparing to guide humanity toward its role in galactic transformation as eternity sang through frequencies older than stars and the sacred pattern pulsed with promise of transcendence beyond current understanding.